Some NFL teams have completely shocked us this year, and others, total disasters. So let's give every team a midseason grade based on one thing. Did they live up to expectations or not? And trust me, some of these grades will piss off fan bases, but they're fair. And they're based on real preseason expectations, not just win-loss records. We're grading every team on three things: preseason expectations, on-field performance, and how trustworthy they look for the rest of the season. All right, let's start off with the AFC East.
The Buffalo Bills, my grade for them is a B.
My grade for them is also a B.
The reason why is not because, we all expected them to be first in the division. And we did not expect the jump that the Patriots made. The reason why I gave them a B is because their losses were their worst losses against I guess the Patriots obviously now in hindsight are a good team, but the Bills probably should have handled the business with that. They beat the good teams, but couldn't really beat the bad teams. Realistically, they could be undefeated at this point if they just handled business.
Yeah, when you're looking at it, it's a great record, 73 record. At the end of the day, that is a record that deserves to be topping a division, but the Patriots are 9-2 and cooking themselves. But you said it best. One, it's you're looking at the expectation. You expect the Bills to be leading the division in the AFC East.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. So obviously I have to knock them down for that. And another reason that you have to knock them down is because of the losses you mentioned. Losing to Atlanta, and Atlanta haven't looked good since, basically, is pretty terrible. Losing to Dolphins, I have no idea what the hell happened there. But you go out there and respond and beat a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are a really good team.
The Bills come back. Sorry, the Ravens come back.
The Ravens come back,
and
then you beat the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, it felt like for once maybe that they might actually have a chance against them in the playoffs, because it felt like they were the better team. But it also felt like they found a recipe that they could use to succeed in the playoffs against them.
Their weapons concern me. Their defense still somewhat concerns me, even though their defense has been performing a little bit. Their O-line's been amazing. Dude, if the Chiefs do not make it this year, they have zero excuses not to get to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, yeah, 100%,
whether they win or not, you could discuss if you don't trust their weapons and defense and whatever the case is. But if the Chiefs, vulnerable as they are, and if they do not make it, and we'll get to that division later on, they have no excuses of getting in.
Yeah.
But
so the Bills get a C. Or not a C, a B from both of us.
Next up is the Miami Dolphins. And listen, I've been prepping this for the last couple of weeks, so my grades have fluctuated, and this team went from an F to a D.
So we're doing American system?
Yeah, essentially. Minuses, pluses,
so there's no
everything.
F to C minus, basically?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
Just if you're wondering, we are Canadian, and we usually don't have the letter grade D unless you're in university.
I agree with you. I'm going to give it a D minus.
It was an easy F to start.
It was an easy F, but now you're looking at it, they have 4 wins.
Yeah. They beat the Bills. was one of them.
And they beat the Bills. So overall, at the end of the day, you got to give credit to Mike McDaniel. You got to give Tua for still fighting.
Yeah.
You got to give credit to that team. Their defense has been playing better as of late as well. So for a team that's really down and out, you got to give credit to their fight and spirit. But again, a lot of changes do need to be made in Miami, more than just...
Yeah, wholesale changes are happening this offseason.
Yeah, it has to be, even with the quarterback, even with the head coach, all those things. But overall, you got to give credit in terms of the effort and their love of the game, because they're still putting up a fight. And that's the reason why they went from 1 and something to now 4-7.
Next up, it is the New York Jets. I gave them a D minus. It's 2-8. I understand that. But their games have been competitive. And I'm basing mine off also based on preseason expectations plus how they've actually performed so far. I don't think they have performed terribly for the most part. You've argued that Aaron Glenn shouldn't be on the hot seat or fired. The games have been competitive. And compared to the other teams I gave F to, I gave them a D minus, which is literally one above F for that reason.
Did you expect the New York Jets to be this bad in record-wise?
Record-wise, okay, let me. I'll have their schedule pulled up, but you keep talking.
Look.
What's your grade?
It's an F, man. It has to be an F. Their offense is atrocious. Their quarterback play is only literally their best play, and the only play they have is a quarterback scrambling and just finding a way to get yards. Justin Fields hasn't played really good football. And overall, defensively, yeah, they've been there, but they also got rid of some pieces too. But overall, I do believe they have been a little bit more competitive. I do believe they played better football than a 2-8 record. That doesn't mean
that's why I gave them a D minus.
It doesn't mean it's anything special. It could be literally 4-6. But overall, it's still an F. 2-8 is hard to look past. If you're bad and you're playing really bad, that's what the Jets. I won't say playing really bad, but they're not playing to expectation still. So when I'm looking at it, 2-8 just I can't look past that, and it has to be an F.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just think like compared to other teams' expectations, that's the only reason why I gave them a half.
They're supposed to be better than a 2-8 team.
Well, I get
so
that.
the expectation is.
Yeah, I get it. Like some of the, like
they're not even meeting expectations.
They arguably should have beaten Miami. Yeah, they probably could have beaten the Panthers. Like the losses have been like one, except for the Bills, like within like 10 points for the most part this year. Is the only reason why I gave it a D minus. But we'll leave it here for now. We're gonna talk about the Jets more so when it comes to draft time near the end of the season and what their future plans are gonna be at quarterback. But let's finish off the AFC East with the New England Patriots. Let's just say it at the same time. A plus.
A plus.
Listen, me and you were high on this team from the beginning. Like I convinced you off camera to the point where when you did your standings and rankings and all that.
I gave them 11 wins.
Yeah. I gave them 10, and even then they blown out of expectations.
Blown our expectations.
The expectations that we had because I did not. When you told me that when I said this, I didn't think they were going to be leading the division. Like you were yelling at me when I jokingly said the Patriots were going to win the division, and there's kind of a good chance they can still because their schedule's easy. But they still got to play the Bills one more time. I didn't think Drake May was going to play the MVP, probably front runner. Like I know for us it's Jonathan Taylor, but like if you're talking about quarterbacks, he's arguably the front runner now for MVP for that reason. And the team, like Mike Vrabel got a culture, and we all believed in that. Everything we said happened, and yet they're still blowing our expectations. Easy A plus for me. They're tied with the Broncos for the best record in the division. Oh, sorry, the conference. Obviously, the Colts are half a game back, but yeah, it's an easy A plus. I don't think you have much to add on to that, do you?
It's just impressive because this team started off 1-2.
Yeah.
As well.
They look like we were like, oh, we were wrong about this team.
Yeah, they had a lot of
those losses were concerning at the end of the day. But it was
the
week
concerning
one
part.
against the Raiders.
The concerning part was just turnovers, and they fixed that.
Yeah.
Right, and now you're just out here absolutely cooking,
handling business
when you need to, and overall they're just playing really good football across the board, offense, defense, and special teams.
Let's move on to the AFC North, and we're gonna start off with the Cincinnati Bengals. For me, they got a D plus.
Yeah, I'd give it a D plus too. The reason why is just because it's kind of hard. You can't really fault them because Joe Burrow is not there. Even though Joe Flacco has came in and did an admirable job, but overall he did a good enough job for me to get it out of F because one, this defense is like worse than an F.
It's atrocious.
It's absolutely generationally terrible. And then overall, with Jake Browning getting out of the lineup and Joe Flacco coming in, kind of revived it a little bit because they got a couple of wins there. But the main thing is that they got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins rolling again, but they're going to be missing Jamar Chase next game.
First of all, Jamar Chase is an idiot.
Yeah.
Again, you already know our stance when the whole Jalen Carter thing happened in week one of the spitting situation. It can't happen. But that explains the culture and the whole thing that's happening in Cincinnati. I could easily give him an F. The only reason why I didn't get an F was because Joe Burrow was injured. But like there were games that we watched. I forgot what game it was on a Thursday night where they just do not
against the Steelers.
Yeah, they just do not look like they want to play and all that. Like yes, Joe Flacco got some big wins. The offense.
No, they won that game. That was like a shootout.
No, not that. Sorry. Not the Joe Flacco game, but I'm talking about like the one before. I think it was Jake Browning. Yeah, like it was they got like 3 points or something like that.
Yeah, that was a Denver game, I believe.
Yeah, you could just tell like they need a whole new culture reset. I do believe they need to move on with Zach Taylor, but like we thought Jake Browning is a solid enough backup like what he did a couple of years ago, and that wasn't the case. But overall, yeah, D plus. Let's move on to the other Ohio team, the Cleveland Browns. For me, I gave them a D. 2 wins. We're going to see what Shadur Sanders is going to be made of now because he's finally going to get first team reps if Dylan Gabriel is still injured. I do not know how he did not get any practice as a QB2 with the first team reps ever since Joe Flacco moved on because something like this could happen. And that was I don't blame the guy fully too much. The reason why I gave him a D, because Myles Garrett is a stud, and this guy might actually win DPOY with their team not making the playoffs, which is going to be weird to say. But that's how good their defense has been. I cannot give them an F because of their defense. It was just them that good and kept them in games and got some solid wins, right, against the Green Bay Packers. And I forget the other one. But yeah, the other win was, like, they kept it close against the Ravens this past weekend.
Dolphins.
Yeah, they demolished the Dolphins.
So I 100% agree with you because of Myles Garrett. It's as simple as that. This team is a bona fide F, but you have Myles Garrett. And literally the definition of Bugatti in a trailer, that meme, is Myles Garrett. And the defense in general, have been playing pretty good. But overall, this offense is just absolutely atrocious. Obviously, we'll see what Shadur Sanders does if he gets able to start. Obviously, his debut wasn't good at all. But overall, just like from the offensive scheme standpoint, they don't throw the ball down the field. Every single throw they do is like 5 yards or less.
Check downs, yeah.
It's all check
down,
downs.
screen passes, all
and
that.
And now the defense is catching on because Judkins has been the one
Bright spot on the
bright
offense.
spot rolling the offense, but now teams are catching on that they're going to get the ball to Judkins a lot, so they're filling the box up, and because of that, Judkins wasn't able to produce too much. And at the end of the day, you can't blame him because literally everything on the offense is about Quinshon Judkins. But other than that, the defense has been good. That's the reason why it moves up a letter grade.
Stay tuned because we'll be doing our awards races and you'll see if we actually have Myles Garrett as a DPOY winner. Definitely a candidate, that's for sure. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens. Do you want to start off with this one?
It's a C.
Okay, yeah, I have it as a C.
Look, the Ravens had their backs against the wall. Have their claws way back? Yes. Now they're in the conversation to win the AFC North. That's huge. But the football we have seen from the Baltimore Ravens the last few weeks was not convincing at all. It was a one-score game, I believe, against the Vikings. And they had to get a trick play from Mark Andrews to get his first career rushing touchdown. Great play, by the way. But that's what it took to beat the Cleveland Browns when their quarterback got injured and they had to put in another rookie in the middle of a game, which is obviously, at the end of the day, you can't blame Shedeur Sanders too much because he came in a very tough circumstances. Good news is you're seeing the defense play better as well, which was a huge plus because that wasn't the case in the beginning of the year. And overall, we haven't seen the best of this Ravens team yet, even with their win streak that they have been on.
Even when they had a healthy Lamar to start the year, that Bills loss shouldn't have been a loss the way you guys gave that up. The Lions loss, you guys got beat down in the middle. I understand Matabuke ended up getting hurt that game.
Henry fumble again.
Yeah, Henry fumbling twice, which is uncharacteristic of him. And then of course, it was the Chiefs game where he ended up getting hurt, Lamar got hurt, and then he kind of had that stretch where he lost to the Texans and the Rams and came back against the Bears. Now you're on the win streak. You're on the right trajectory. I mean, in 2 weeks' time, this might jump up to a B, but at this moment,
it's not convincing yet, though.
It's nothing's convincing, but there's still a game behind the Steelers at the end of the day to take over the division, and we know they'll probably get into the playoffs. Let's be real. That's just our opinion because they're still that talented. But speaking of the Steelers, they're the last team in this division that we're going to grade, and that is, for me, a B. It's weird to say that a division leader is getting a B from me. It's just like they have been the most up and down team. Their best defensive performance, unfortunately for us, was against our Indianapolis Colts. We thought that maybe they're going to get a bounce back. Like after that, they're going to find their way. No, they get whooped by the Chargers a week after, who are a different story as well. Offensively, now Aaron Rodgers is out. We'll see how long he'll be out for with the hand injury, and we'll see what Mason Rudolph does. But this is not a projecting list. This is what happened so far list. Their offense has been pretty good. Aaron Rodgers has kept them played really well at it, considering his age. It's weird that their offense is outperforming their defense, considering the talent they have.
Though the last few weeks, the offense was the reason why they lost against the Chargers.
Yeah,
the defense did play good up until the
beginning of the year. It was the offense.
Ever since the Colts game, the defense has been good. Even last game, the defense played really good, forcing turnovers against the Bengals. It's a B plus.
Okay.
Fringe A minus for me, but B plus.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I can't bump into the A grade levels is just because, like what you said, it has been like a week good, a week bad.
And they let the Ravens get back in.
And they let the Ravens get back in there. That for sure is knocking it down. The defense has played good the last 3 weeks. I believe the defense is back now, and it's going to be even more back because Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, so they know that they're going to need to win football games now. Again, like you said, well, Aaron Rodgers, the offense has been good. Last 2 weeks, I mean, again, they played the Bengals, so I can't really assess that. The Chargers was terrible. The Colts, they were literally gifted by their defense with like all those 6 turnovers. But overall, like you said, the offense has been playing better than the defense. But right now, I think we're seeing the defense come to their own. It's unfortunate that Aaron Rodgers got hurt because I feel like we could have seen the best version of the Steelers over the next few weeks with the defense returning to form and the offense carrying it on what they were doing. But overall, Mason Rudolph has proven it in the past that he could take the Steelers to playoffs. So let's see if he could do it now. But I'm giving it a B plus because one, what I least expected for them to work has been working. And the thing that we expect from them, which is a defense, is coming around, and they have a plus record and they have the division lead.
Next up, the AFC South, starting off with our Indianapolis Colts. A plus.
A plus.
A plus. Listen, the true test is coming now, starting with the Kansas City Chiefs and onwards, to see how can they close out the division. They have a good lead here. I did not expect this from Daniel Jones. Yes, the last 2 games we were kind of seeing shades of New York Giants, but listen, the bye week came at the right time. The play calling will get better. The O-line should get better in that sense with the bye week. But Jonathan Taylor should be, in our opinion, he's definitely Opoi front runner, but should be in the MVP conversation. Probably favorite in our opinion. This is not with bias speaking. The defense, we'll see what they end up doing now with the addition of Sauce Gardner and hopefully a healthy secondary coming in, and eventually, hopefully, DeForest Buckner gets healthy as well, and we'll see how it ends up going. Listen, this is probably the most complete team in the AFC in my personal opinion. The question is it's all going to come down to Daniel Jones. At the end of the day, is he going to make the plays? You have the run game support. Jonathan Taylor's the reason why the run game has opened up. Sorry, the pass game has opened up more. At the beginning, you could say that it was 50-50 the way Daniel Jones was rolling, but the Colts handled business. Yeah, maybe the Cardinals win should have been a little bit better, but then sometimes it's football. You're gonna have the games like that, but they've handled business against the teams they should have beaten, and the games that did lose outside of the Rams game, they could have won that game if it wasn't for AD Mitchell. That game, yeah. Obviously, the Steelers game was a bad game. Simple as that. But it was one bad game. They flushed it. And we move on. The
impressive part is they did that bad against the Steelers and still only lost by one possession. Yeah. Which is also good news in terms of we see some sort of fight back. Another positive, even though how stressful the Atlanta Falcons game was, we saw Daniel Jones show up in the clutch, which we haven't seen before, which is also a huge test or a huge litmus test for him to see if he is going to be that guy to lead us to a deep playoff run. And on top of that, overall, players should be coming back healthy too, so which is good. We're going to hopefully see the best version of his defense with Mooney Ward coming back opposite of Sauce Gardner. It's unfortunate Buckner is going to be out, so we're not going to see his defense at full potential, but I feel like we're almost there. And offensively, this team has been rolling. They've been doing their thing.
Been the best offense
every single win they had 21-9 or plus points. And I continue to expect to see that from the Indianapolis Colts.
Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I gave them a B. A team that was up, it also has been up and down for the most part. They got big wins against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are in trouble because the games they lost, they don't have tiebreakers in them either, right? And we'll talk about the Chiefs when we get to them. But with the Jacksonville Jaguars having a 6-4 record, that's it's kind of like meeting expectations for me because this is where I kind of saw them at this point of the NFL season.
I'd give it a B+. I am a little bit impressed by the Jags from what I've seen this year.
Start of the year, their defense was really good.
Yeah. Again, the concern is Trevor Lawrence. That is for sure. But overall, these guys are finding ways to win. They're, again, positive record. I'd give them the same grade as the Steelers because I feel like they're kind of similar in terms of the story, in terms of having a good week and having an off week type of thing. But overall, I didn't expect the Jags to be 6-4 at this point. I expect them to have a losing record, I'll be honest with you.
I thought I thought they could have been 500 at this point.
Yeah, but...
So your expectations were lower than mine, which is why you gave it a B+, and for me was a B.
But overall, if Trevor Lawrence fixes up, this team could do something this year, but that's the big question mark for Jaguars. But overall, I think they deserve a B+.
Next up, the Houston Texans. Kind of similar to the Dolphins in a sense that they started off with an F and then they kept getting better. Now they're 5-5. I gave them a C. We did not expect them to be this bad. Let's just be real. We know their defense was going to be all world.
And it is.
And it is all world. It's been an elite defense. But it's like the flip of the Bengals. Their offense was atrocious. It's unfortunate that CJ Stroud now got hurt when it was looking like he's finding his game. But the offense was so bad to start the year. They couldn't connect passes. The CJ Stroud did not look like rookie or CJ Stroud. But of course, the O-line just being terrible. It was hard to do everything. Look, they're gonna looking for another OC this offseason, in my personal opinion. But at least right now, led by Davis Mills, they got a couple of big wins. They're at 5-5. They have beaten the bad teams, which is good. So we'll see what the test is gonna be like if as of right now, CJ Stroud is supposed to be out against the Bills overall. But we'll see what ends up happening with them.
I'm gonna give the same letter grade. I'm giving the Houston Texans a C. Again, you had bad moments, but you had really good moments. You have a record that describes a football team to be average, which is at 500. So
their defense is always going to keep them in games.
And their defense is always going to keep them in games. They just got to play for one good quarter. The offense has come around a little bit more recently with Davis Mills and with CJ Stroud. So for that, I'm going to give them credit. Again, they had good moments and they had bad moments, and that just basically evens out to average, which is a C grade for me.
All right, the Tennessee Titans. This is probably the only time we're going to be talking about them for the rest of the year come draft time. It's an F.
It's an F. Nobody's surprised that it's an F. Look, did we expect to see better from Cam Ward? For sure. But it doesn't help when his coach was pretty terrible and he's already fired. So it's going to be a tough road for Cam Ward to figure out his development and how he could progress.
O-line horrible. Defense wasn't great.
Yeah, a lot of things need to be fixed for the Tennessee Titans still. And Overall, they're projected to be the number 1 overall pick again.
I mean, they should
this
be
year,
winless if
and
it wasn't for that Arizona Cardinals meltdown against them.
Overall, this team just needs more time to build up because they don't have the pieces right now at the moment, and they need the pieces to help Cam Ward. In the meantime, this is what you can expect to see from Tennessee.
Moving on to the AFC West, we're starting off with the Denver Broncos, and I gave them an A.
A is fair. It's not an A plus just because.
Just the style.
I was also
of
leaning A minus potentially.
but then they got the big win against the Chiefs.
That is true. It's just simple as this. This offense doesn't show up for 4 quarters. That's the biggest knock. And honestly, I can't hate that just because that's who they are. They have, again, like the Houston Texans, an all-world defense that keeps them in the game. We just need to show up for 1 quarter.
And the difference between the Texans and the Broncos, Bo Nix is like the clutchest quarterback, like how Baker Mayfield was to start the year.
Exactly.
In 4th quarter.
And overall, again, these guys are on a massive win streak, an 8-game win streak.
Have a stranglehold on the division.
Started off 1-2 like the Patriots. And that's the most surprising part. Again, is it an A plus? No, they have the same record as the Patriots. But with the Patriots, you can't think of a flaw with the Patriots. And up to this point of the season. Denver, you could definitely see one flaw, which is obviously their offense not being consistent.
Expectations for both teams were a little bit different. Like, we thought the Broncos were going to be a definitive playoff team, whereas the Patriots, we had still question marks of if they were going to be the real deal. But overall, with the Broncos, at the end of the day, like, I'll ask this question. Do you think they have the division on lockdown now? Do you think the Chiefs or the Chargers can take it?
But Broncos have it on lock. I don't see. Okay, I definitely don't see. I will be very impressed if the Chiefs find a way to win this division.
Because like,
with the Chargers, they're just too inconsistent. So like at the end of the day, do they have a chance? Do they have a chance? Yes. They also beat the Broncos already.
Yeah.
So they can do something with that. But when I'm just looking at the Chargers, they're just like literally the most inconsistent team that I could think of.
Speaking of the Chargers, they're up next. I give them a B because like they've been outside of the Colts, they have arguably could have been the most complete team in the NFL if their O-line was healthy. The fact that you're playing without Slater and Alt now, Alt for the rest of the year. Joe Alt was probably my protector of the year if he was healthy for the rest of the season. It would have done wonders for them. Justin Herbert showed MVP games, and then he's shown a lack of that, and some of that is because of the lack of protection. But overall, though, like, I am somewhat impressed with this team. The fact that they're finding big wins, like the Steelers win, for example, and all that. When we think that the Steelers are gonna get them, but they didn't at the end of the day. But overall, I have to give them a B because at the end of the day, it's still a solid year. They're 7-4, still a positive record. They started off 3-0, then obviously had a couple of bad losses in there. But overall, like, big win. They're 3-0 in the division, so like that's gonna be hurting the Broncos if especially if they beat the Broncos. And then they should beat the Raiders. They could at least be 4-2 at the minimum. This is say the Chiefs and Broncos win one each. But if they do find a way to beat the Broncos, they could take the division still. So like, I'm going to give them a B just because of the little bit of inconsistency as of late.
B is a fair grade for sure. Obviously,
I could have given a B plus to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just the inconsistency. And honestly, like, do they have a valid excuse? Yes, 100%. Because 2 of their best O-linemen are out for the year now. And Herbert is running for his life. But overall, their defense is still solid enough. They've won some games, like the Steelers won. And Justin Herbert has won some games earlier when he was protected. That's going to be the biggest question mark. That's the biggest knock on the Chargers now. Can they keep Herbert upright? And can they keep him protected? It's just the inconsistency. Whether it be the O-line just not producing or just Herbert not producing. Because we've seen Herbert this year have some really good games and also have some pretty bad games as well.
January 4 might be a fun one to see who might win the division if it does come down to it with the Broncos closing out the year. But let's talk about this next team, the Kansas City Chiefs. At 5-5, they've been up and down from here. Right now, I have it written as a C+. I think they might be a C.
It's a C, man. It's not. It's a C.
I don't know if I had updated this at the point.
It is a C. Yeah. Here's the reason why it's a C. Number 1, they've had their good moments and their bad moments.
Okay, so here's
their bad moments. The first 2 weeks, they start off 0-2.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, they're 0-2. They have a losing streak. In between, 1.
So we're screwed with the Colts.
In between, they're 4-1.
Yeah.
So we've seen their good moments and their bad moments. We've seen people come back from injury and see this team and especially the offense elevate. But then we also seen the Bills and the Broncos beat them as well. So again, they're losing to tough opponents. It's not like they're losing to. They don't really have.
Here's a stat though.
They don't really have a bad loss. Every team they lost to is a positive record right now. Even the Jags.
Here's the thing. Last year they were 11-0. in one-score games, right? This year they're 0-5.
Yeah, that's the difference, bro. Last year they got away with it. This year they're not getting away with it.
Exactly.
That's a big difference.
And now they have their weapons back. Yes, the O-line could perform a little bit better. Their defense could perform a little bit better, and we'll see what ends up happening. But at this point, to say that we're seeing the Chiefs out of the playoff race right now, and they don't have a tiebreaker on the Jags, for example, if they're fighting for the wild card, the Chargers who are in the wild card ahead of them. So it's concerning time for Kansas City at the moment. Maybe that's the best way not to get them to the Super Bowl is they do not get to the playoffs this year. But I mean, okay, do you have faith that they'll bounce back and get into the playoffs?
Yeah,
Maybe not as division, but as a wild card.
No, for sure.
So if they even get in as a wild card, it's going to be scary.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, at the end of the day, like they elevate their game in the playoffs. That's who they are. Yeah, and they fully deserve a C.
So you have it as a C. I'll agree with that with a C. I won't have it as a C plus. Close it out with the AFC and the AFC West in general. The Vegas Raiders for me have an F.
It's a F. Everything that went wrong, can go wrong in Vegas, went wrong. Geno Smith regression has been absolutely massive. He is getting up there in age, but overall, the Seahawks made the right decision. The Raiders made the wrong one. Same with Pete Carroll. He's not getting the best out of the players. Chip Kelly and his offense, I think, has been really terrible. I don't think
Brock Bowers has been hurt. O-line has been terrible. The defense outside of Max Crosby.
Here's the biggest issue I have with this football team is that they're not getting the best out of Bowers and Ashton Genty, who are literally like versatile, elite weapons and good in any aspect of their game, whether it be in their tight end and running back game.
They're just very lucky that Max Crosby's loyal as hell. Simple as that. Obviously I'm not gonna feel bad for Max Crosby's in this situation because he chose to be there and he wants to be there. That's all right to him. But from a neutral fan's perspective, please try to get a way out of there because we need to see you on a really good team. Because even today, watching a little bit of that Dallas game, he still has the game record ability that we've seen him in the past. But before we move, that wraps up the AFC for us. Before we move on to the NFC here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. As mentioned, we have a lot more content coming for you guys. The awards, mid-season awards show will be coming out soon. You guys do not want to miss that. And comment down below, what are your grades for your favorite teams or teams in general? Do you agree or disagree with us? We would like to engage with you guys in the comments down below. And we're almost to 100 subscribers, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But let's move on to the NFC East, and we're gonna start off as a team that I mentioned, the Raiders just played, the Dallas Cowboys, and I have them at a C.
The Dallas Cowboys, I will give a C just because their offense is really, really good. And overall, that has been the case for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott returned to form. He's finding CeeDee Lamb. The acquisition of George Pickens has been incredible. We'll see what Quentin Williams does. He played his first game this weekend or on Monday. So overall, we'll see how that defense is impacted because that is a big addition. But overall, the defense is really bad. The offense is really good. So it just puts them in the average
defense
situation.
Specifically past the line is pretty bad. The line itself is
the line itself, yeah, has been playing well, yeah.
Overall, they're probably out of the playoffs at the moment with how good the North and the West are in the NFC as well. So yeah, overall a C because your offense is elite and your defense is not. Next up, the Washington Commanders. I have them at a C minus. Harsh to grade because just way too many injuries. Hopefully Jaden Daniels gets well soon. It's not RG3 2.0 for them. Because, again, RG3 rookie year was very good, but the injuries cost him. Terry McLaurin missed some time. Deebo Samuel missed some time. Just, they've been dropping players, a lot to the point where it's a lost season for them. That's why I have them at a C minus. I could give them a D if I wanted to, but I have, just because of the injuries, I gave them a little bit of leeway and gave them a C minus.
I gave a D just because their defense is still
You were also
terrible.
very high on them.
I was very, at the end of the day, the injuries are fair. You're losing a massive...
Your quarterback.
Yeah, you're losing a massive guy in Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin, I don't think I've seen him touch the field this year. I know he has, but I just didn't witness it. Deebo Samuel has been pretty good. Honestly, when he was on the field, Deebo Samuel has produced. But again, he has an injury history himself. But this defense has done nothing to help him out at all. So when I'm looking at it, this defense needs a lot of work, and they got to figure it out. And for that reason, I'm going to keep him at a D. But overall, when you're looking at the situation and a record, you could see F. But again, we know the injuries that they have faced. So for that, I'm going to give it a D because I'm not going to give them that much of a leeway just because their defense has not done a bit to do anything. Again, it's like you're looking at Commanders defense, you're looking at Cowboys defense, you're looking at the Bengals defense being Bengals defense is generationally bad. The Commanders and Cowboys are almost generationally bad.
Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles. I gave them an A. The reason I did not give them an A plus, similar to the Broncos, that offensive flaws are
Massive.
massive.
Yeah, it's an A. It's an A for them.
Again, similar to them, defenses are elite. The Jalen Phillips addition has been amazing so far.
You can't score on the Eagles right now.
Yeah, you're
the Pro Bowl level quarterbacks, top 10 potential level quarterbacks look like they have never played the sport before.
When their defenses look bad, for example, week 1 against the Cowboys, I think the game that Jalen Carter missed, there's your missing piece, Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis, and the interior D-line, good luck running even. You have Jalen Phillips now added, that helps the Josh Sweat loss and all that stuff.
You know what's scary when you have Nakobe Dean matching stride for stride with Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams in that game.
You probably have now Fred Warner being injured, you have the best linebacker probably in the game right now. Obviously, we still, when healthy, Fred Warner probably is the guy. Your secondary is elite. So your defense, no problems whatsoever. Offensively, you need to move on from Kevin Patolo. I don't know if Nick Sirianni needs to start calling plays again. I don't know what the case is. The offense has been atrocious. It's either like you do not get AJ Brown involved, okay, he's frustrated, or all you're doing is looking for AJ Brown and neglect everything else that's been working for you.
Neglecting Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. Like Saquon Barkley, for the most part this year, has not been good. There may be a couple of games where he's had it, was really good.
It was one.
One, two, whatever it was. But this your defense is gonna help you. You're gonna be you have the division on lock. You're competing for the number 1 seed with the Rams, Seahawks, and all these guys at the moment. But they need to figure out that offense rolling, because come playoff time, it's going to be trouble for the Kansas.
There is no excuse for that Lions game to come down to the wire and come down to a terrible PI call that the refs threw. Surprise, the refs are shit.
The defense did enough for you to get that win early.
This offense, one, Patolo has to go for sure, 100%. But number 2, the issue is this. And my biggest issue is that coming off the season he had last year and the impact he had last year, you literally had the recipe there. You literally had the instructions there, but you still managed to fuck up the meal.
Yeah.
It's just simple as that. You just had to follow what you did last year. You had Saquon Barkley, and he rushed for 2,000 yards. The fact that you're not getting the best out of Saquon Barkley just shows how bad of an offensive coordinator you have been this year.
On paper, should be the most complete team in the NFL.
100%.
Obviously, the defense is living to the name. The offense has not.
Offensive line has faced some injuries with Lane Johnson and Cam
I think he's going to be
Jurgens.
missing a couple of weeks now.
But overall, it's just no excuse that you're getting that performance out of Saquon.
Speaking of Saquon Barkley, his old team, the New York Giants, I have gave them a D because similar to the Jets, expectation-wise, we know they were going to be bad. They had the hardest schedule in the NFL. Yes, I know they only have 2 wins, one of them being against the Eagles, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. You've seen moments from Jackson Dart. You saw moments from Cam Scadaboo and all that. Malik Neighbors unfortunately being hurt. They faced big injuries there. Listen, at the end of the day, this is what I kind of expected from these guys.
Here's the thing.
You expected them to be better. And one last thing, sorry. Jackson Dart just plays safe.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to be like Cam Scadaboo. I understand he's a running back. He's gonna go crazy mode and don't take the unnecessary hits. But Jackson Dart cannot be taking unnecessary hits because he is the quarterback of the future for sure at the moment, and he has been looking good so far.
The difference between this and the Jets. Number 1, these guys have dealt with major injuries.
Yeah.
And number 2, it feels like you're seeing a culture and seeing some sort of progress from the Giants this year.
Daboll did get fired.
Huh? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen that from the Jets. Like you might be seeing a culture, but you're not seeing a step forward in terms of results.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the Giants' results have been good. They only have 2 wins.
Yeah, they've blown a bunch of leads.
They have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. They have blown a bunch of leads, and literally their 2 best offensive playmakers are out for the year. And now they have lost their quarterback probably for a game potentially because of his concussions.
Outside of the Chiefs and Commanders game, which was week 1 and week 3.
They technically did lose them for 1 game already because Jameis played.
Yeah. Outside of week 1 and week 3, they're I guess Eagles, they lost by 7. They won that game. Never mind.
Yeah.
Outside of week 1 and 3, their losses have been close because a lot of that has been they've just given up the lead. That's just the inexperience.
That's where their defense has been a little bit underwhelming.
Defense, honestly, the line has been really good.
Yeah, but just overall defense has been underwhelming. Obviously, we're saying Brian Burns potentially.
Brian Burns should be in depoy conversations if they were a better team. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence has been really good for them as well.
And they have Abdul Carter.
He's in depoy conversations. So,
the difference is that you're blowing leads, and the defense is a part you got to look at. And the defense as a whole, but obviously the line has been good. And they've been doing their job. But when you're blowing leads, obviously there's 2 situations you're looking at. Is either offense is giving them the game, which they kind of did with Denver with all the turnovers, and number 2, it's just your defense is not making the pivotal stop, which they haven't been all year.
Next up, we're going to the NFC North, and we're starting off with the division leaders at this point of recording.
It's weird to say that.
Chicago Bears. I give them a B plus still. I understand people that want to give them an A minus. I get that. Their wins just like listen. Caleb Williams has taken a step forward this year. It helps that you have a really good play caller, in Ben Johnson coming over from Detroit. Don't get me wrong, but their wins again, they handled business. Their wins were against bad teams. They got it. The Ravens, disappointing because I think that was a game still Cooper. It wasn't not Cooper Rush. It was Tyler Huntley playing it, right? But now their stretch is next stretch is gonna determine where they're gonna end up finishing. And it will not shock me that they fall to fourth or third because they're Eagles, Packers, Browns, Lions, Niners, right? These are the teams that they're gonna be playing for the most part. But at this point, I liked what I'm seeing from Caleb Williams. Obviously, we like to see a little bit more consistency with certain weapons, but they cannot. At least the good news with them, even though they're choking a lead away, they got to the clutch point to either hit a clutch free throw or got that field goal. I was thinking basketball with field goal and mixed it up with free throw as well. But like the Cairo Santos field goal this past weekend with the big run from Devin Duvernay. Or what the Colston Loveland touchdown from as well. So
I'm giving it a B plus as well, just because the best way I could describe it is like they've had some lucky superhero type plays that kind of won them football games. So that's one reason. Another reason why I'm giving them B plus is they have a -6 point differential.
Yeah.
Look, the Bears have been very impressive, and I'm giving them all the flowers. We're seeing them progress throughout the year, and like it's very impressive. But overall, they do have some flaws, and we're not fully convinced by them. But at the end of the day, I am impressed by the Chicago Bears. A B plus is good. I feel like they need to play a little bit more cleaner for me to give them an A.
Yeah, like we'll see once we revisit this at the end of the year for our season-ending rankings. We'll see how they finish off this stretch and if they do get into the playoffs to see where they ultimately end up. The Detroit Lions, I have them at a B minus.
I give them a B minus as well. I agree with that.
They've just been inconsistent. Like obviously the week one meltdown, we were like, oh, are this like them losing both coordinators? It's gonna be
washed. It's over.
Calvin Shepard's doing a really good job on the defensive side of things. Offensively, Dan Campbell took charge of play calling. And obviously
it's been up and down offensively for sure.
It's not Jared Goff. Obviously, again, at the end of the day, you put the Eagles defense. They're gonna do that to you. I get that, but it's just been super inconsistent for me. They've had some big wins, but they've also had some bad losses. Like in division right now, they obviously beat the Bears, but the losses to the Packers and then the loss to the Vikings, that might end up hurting them come week 17, 18 when the games matter most. But overall, like listen, they weren't bad enough for me to put them at a C. Like the offense has been explosive when it needs to be, and with the injured defense, Calvin Shepard is doing a damn good job. He kept them in he and the defense kept them in that Eagles game. It was just the offense couldn't beat that Eagles defense.
Yeah, moving on to the Packers.
Also a B minus for me.
Yeah, I give it a B minus.
Lately,
I want to give it a C plus.
I mean, you could give it a C plus. Go do for it. I don't disagree with that.
I know, yeah, but I'd give it the B minus just because of the record. I'll be honest with you. Again, defensively, this team has been really good. There's no debates about that. You got Micah Parsons.
Outside of the Cowboys game, yeah.
Outside the Cowboys game, like this defense was already expected to be good. You added Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
It's lived up to expectation. The offense, again, for even the same story with the Detroit Lions, the offense has been very inconsistent. Jordan Love has been very inconsistent.
They had to come back and beat the Giants.
I give credit to Jordan Love last game because he did play a good game to help him come back and win.
What a catch by Christian Watson, by the way.
Yeah, and getting him back healthy is going to be huge. Getting
hopefully Jaden
Reed back healthy soon will be huge for them.
Unfortunately, lost Tucker Kraft for the year.
Yeah, one of their main consistent offensive producers.
Which is hurting. Which is funny that
and it showed. The last two games it definitely has showed. So they're not getting that tight end production anymore. But
their loss.
I think it's just too much. The best way to describe it, and that's how Jordan Love plays, so I don't want him to get away from it fully.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of risk taking from him, which kind of it costed him that big interception.
Their losses were to the Panthers, who I understand are better this year. The Cleveland Browns, obviously.
The losses just shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It just can't happen.
Both the Lions and Eagles, Lions and the Packers could have been the Eagles. The Eagles only beat them like 10-7 and whatever the
16-6.
Yeah.
I think. Or 16-10. No, 9-16-9.
Yeah. So
because of the field goal.
At the end of the day, I have to give them a B minus. I've been underwhelmed. It's
underwhelming.
First week gave me like, oh yeah, A plus. These are going to the Super Bowl. They're gonna help my prediction, and they need to figure their offense out, especially because it isn't looking good at the moment for me as well. Next up, his last team. Yeah, the Vikings. I have them at a C plus. They're still right there in there. I understand a C plus range. I'll give him a C plus. They faced injury at quarterback position. Carson Wentz didn't look terrible. I'm not saying he was like some Sam Darnold from last year or anything like that. Now he's out for the year. But JJ McCarthy, there might be a chance that this team might be getting Anthony Richardson soon. Or any other
could
quarterback.
be potentially.
Because JJ McCarthy, outside of the fourth quarter from the Bears game, and I think his first game back, he made some big throws against the Lions.
Game, yeah.
This past weekend, he did not look great. There are games that he did play, he did not look great. Already had an injury-ridden first year, missed the whole year, and so far has an injury-riddled second year. The concerns that people had, like Nick Shook, who's been on our pod before, said like JJ McCarthy, yeah, I don't understand why he's gonna go this high up. I mean, only because he's a winner because of what he did in Michigan. You're kind of seeing why in his argument say.
Yeah,
like,
at the end of the day, I didn't think JJ McCarthy was a first round quarterback.
Yeah.
So I was very surprised he even got those nods.
We just gave the benefit of the doubt because Kevin O'Connell was a coach.
That's a huge part.
Yeah.
But overall, this guy hasn't looked good. He hasn't been the answer. And I think you're gonna get they're gonna figure out that they're gonna try to find a solution, basically. JJ McCarthy guy or he's not. So they're gonna let him play, read it out. And if he's playing like how he has the last 2 weeks, obviously that he's not gonna be the answer. They're gonna have to move on from quarterback, which is unfortunate because it's only year 2 for him and you don't want to give up on a quarterback too easily. But the knowing that the league we're in and seeing what the Colts did with Anthony Richardson, you're not going to...
I mean, teams are moving off of coaches and quarterbacks just like that.
Exactly. You're not going to be surprised if you're seeing the Vikings do it too, just because I feel like it's even more difficult for him and he has a quick leash on him just because he is technically with a quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
So they're like
I mean,
they expect...
KOC
so you kind of expect his development to accelerate even more because of the coaching and the playmakers he has around him.
KOC called a really good game in the Detroit game. He needs to execute that game plan even more. I guess it's different when you play different defenses. I understand that. But so far has not been good. And yeah, this is a team that I could see taking a chance on Anthony Richardson this off season. That wraps up the NFC North. Let's move on to the NFC South. I feel like this one's going to be relatively quick. Buccaneers, I guess this team we have to talk about a little bit. I have them at a B+. Faltered a little bit late. Not to the fault of their own. Just too many injuries. Bucky Irving, the receiver group in general. Emeka Egbuka was also injured and is not fully healthy playing himself. Christian Wirfs missed the start of the year, although that's when we had Baker in the MVP conversation overall. But again, they're just very fortunate that they're in probably the worst division in football. However, the Panthers are nipping on their heels at the moment, and we'll talk about the Panthers in a bit here. But overall, I'm giving them a B+. They're still leading the division. They were in... Hopefully they just get healthy soon and they should be able to take off.
The biggest concern for Tampa Bay is just the health for them because now you're seeing teams literally go all out to cover Emeka Egbuka as a rookie, which is going to be very difficult for him to now produce.
Even though Tez Johnson has took a step forward as a young guy himself.
They had 2 rookies that literally took a step forward for them in both of those guys, but it's tough recovering from losing Mike Evans and not having Chris Godwin really step on the field much this year. And on top of that, losing Bucky Irving is huge just because even though like their running backs have produced here and there, and Rashad White and Sean Tucker, I believe Sean
Tucker had a really good game
last game, but they're not Bucky Irving. It's just simple as that. Like Bucky Irving does it all for them. He did it all from last year, and he was doing it all for them this year as well.
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons. I'm giving them an F. My expectations were obviously high. I just picked the gut feeling from them to win division. I still thought they would have competed at this point for the division, but I'm giving them an F. It's looking like Raheem Morris is on the hot seat and he might be out. Just some of the games like they played, they just like that shutout loss to the Panthers. They should have won that game they just played. Michael Penix is now out for the year. You took him, but the injury concerns from him are coming from college again. So far and so forth. Drake London has been your bright spot. Bijan, has been really good. Don't get me wrong. And we've seen spurts of...
it's just inconsistent, man. It's just very inconsistent.
This is the definition... the team...
This is a definition of inconsistent because we're seeing good performances. Even in a losing fashion, we saw them do well against the Colts. Even though great win against the Buffalo Bills. Like, that was literally one of the upsets of the year, in my opinion. I believe they had a great showing against Week 1 against the Buccaneers. And they lost last minute for that. But overall, like, again, just the losses you're looking at is just absolutely brutal. You're seeing one of the best performances and you're seeing one of the worst performances.
Since the Bills win, they're on a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, it just feels like they can't rack anything up together. They can't get any momentum going. And even the players themselves, like defensively, they have been a better football team. That was a concern this year.
Yeah.
Because we expected big things from the offense. The issue is the offense has been inconsistent.
What's your grade, by the way?
The grade, I agree with you. It's an F.
Okay, so the other reason why I give them an F, they don't have the first round pick anymore. You mentioned the draft. They've traded up and got James Pierce Jr., one of the two guys. I think it was James Pierce Jr., who has been fine, don't get me wrong. But for you to be this bad, you cannot have not access to your first round pick this year. So that's another concern, just from a organizational standpoint.
And joining him in the F is the New Orleans Saints again. Look, it's the same argument with the Jets. Like, I know if you're, even the Titans, I mean, we expected the team to be shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the fact. If you end up being shit, you're playing to your expectation, but you don't get rewarded for that. It's an F. It's an F tier
I give him
team.
a D because I'm staying consistent with my New York teams.
It's not fair. That's like, no, like, you've seen something with the Giants. You're not seeing anything with the Saints. Like, you're gonna probably see them draft a quarterback.
I listen. The only reason why I gave them a D, I had them at 1 win, even 0 wins. They got 2.
No, there's no way. I can't reward them. Like, again, are they doing everything we expect them to do? Yes, they are. It's just simple as that. But for that reason, just because you're playing to your expectation with any expectation shit doesn't mean you should get a higher grade. In my opinion, it's the same thing with the Titans. Like, it has to be an F.
They were at least okay. Here's the other reason why. I didn't hate the way they lost their games at the beginning.
At the beginning, but at the end of the day,
Spencer Rattler wasn't bad, and
it clearly is.
Their last
because
game
he
was a
got
win
replaced.
because it was a bye week for them this past week. So their last game is a win.
Clearly, he's been an issue because he got replaced. Look, they're in a situation where they're gonna have to figure out a new quarterback. They're gonna have to figure out their offense in general and their O-line and their weapon group. Figure out what they have to do with Chris Olave as well, and figure out the defense. It's an F. It's like a clear F. Just because you're expected to play like shit and you play like shit doesn't mean you get a better grade.
Fair. Next up, the Carolina Panthers, to close it out, I give them a B+. It's just because they have nice wins and then they lose to the Saints.
Yeah, the reason why it's not an A, and obviously we love them.
And they're half a game behind.
We give teams their flowers, especially we give them their A's if they're playing unexpected and they're playing above their expectations. The Panthers are doing that. We didn't expect them to have a positive record at this point in the year. We don't expect them to be at 6-5. We don't expect them to be half a game behind of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we certainly didn't expect them to be second in the division because we had the Falcons ahead of them.
Yeah.
But there's flaws. At the end of the day, and that flaw is Bryce Young.
I mean, we're seeing good Bryce Young.
We're seeing good Bryce Young, and we're seeing really bad Bryce Young. We're seeing Bryce Young, we're like, oh, this guy's not the answer anymore. They should move on from him. And we're seeing, oh, this guy is bona fide the next, their future quarterback. That's what we have seen. We don't have a clear-cut answer on Bryce Young yet. That's how lopsided the performance has been from him, because there is no clear-cut answer on Bryce Young. That's just how he has played. And honestly, and then shown that he has played better than he has worse, because they are 6-5. Their defense has been a pleasant surprise as well, in my opinion.
Hey, Rico Dowdle. And
Rico Dowdle is also a huge, Rico Dowdle literally won him 2 football games all by himself.
I get the Bryce Young stuff. I've been pleasantly surprised with Bryce Young this year. At the beginning of the year, concerned, but as of late, he's been
but that's good. The issue though. That's the issue. But even when you're looking at, we had an issue with the little bit when Fields was moved on from Chicago and they were finally getting help just for Caleb Williams, and Fields never had that thing. But we didn't have a clear-cut answer on the field just because his first half of the year was so bad, but his second half of the year is showing that he's a promising QB. Yeah. This similar situation right here. This guy hasn't put together a full season of football. Same thing happened in his last year, when the second year of his NFL career. The first half was really bad. He got benched for Andy freaking Dalton. You don't get benched for Andy freaking Dalton when you're supposed to be the franchise guy, because Andy Dalton is not an answer because he's freaking 35 plus years old. And it took a car accident for him, an unfortunate car accident for Andy Dalton to miss a game, to regain his opportunity. He didn't play his way back. He just got lucky. And obviously he took most of that. He made the most of that. And he balled. He played good. But the same thing happened this year. This guy hasn't. This is his 3rd straight year, and he hasn't put together a complete season yet.
Here's the thing. For me, I believe in the guy.
Yeah, I'm saying that. Yeah, you believe in the guy. You keep rolling with him. Because you're literally somewhere here. But that's the biggest issue why this football team can't be an A. The issue is Bryce Young.
It's not like I give him an A, but I'm saying I'm just saying we're seeing. What I'm saying is I think we're seeing the consistent Bryce. We're gonna start seeing the consistent Bryce Young now.
Hopefully,
that's what I'm saying. But overall, we'll see what ends up happening with that. But let's move on to the final division, the toughest one, the NFC West. Start off with, I'm going to just get this one out of the way. The Arizona Cardinals for me are at a D tier because...
Fair, I agree.
Too many injuries, obviously. Not too many, but like obviously question mark at quarterback was the big one. Like if you're talking about question mark at quarterback...
Offense is a question. Okay, here's the question mark. Defensively, this team has been really good.
Yes.
And Jonathan Gannon's getting the best. Like, we'll get that out of the way. They have done a good job there. Offensively, the fact that you can't get an offense going with Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson,
Trey
McBride. I know they had issues at the running back position with injuries. James Conner is out, and then their backup in Trey Benson was on hit IR as well. So I'm not going to criticize that too much. But I just have an issue where Kyler Murray can't get Trey McBride going at that elite level he has been going recently, and Marvin Harrison Jr. going. And Jacoby Brissett, an old vet, has literally gotten Trey McBride into the end zone and has put up...
Jacoby Brissett
literally has put every single game McBride played with Brissett has literally been one of the best tight end performances we have seen this year.
Jacoby Brissett somehow has the most completions in NFL history now from that he said on the weekend.
Oh, like in the game, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what was that game? 47 completions out of 57.
Yeah.
Obviously on a loss, but...
And in the loss, we didn't have Marv playing as well.
Yeah.
But overall, like, we didn't see Trey McBride get touchdowns last year. For as good as he has been, this guy hasn't seen the end zone. And he didn't see the end zone much when Kyler Murray is playing. He's seeing the end zone now with Jacoby Brissett. That is a concern for me at the quarterback position. Same thing goes with Marvin Harrison Jr. We're seeing him play better football with Jacoby Brissett than he has played with Kyler Murray. That is a very much of a concern. And it's not like Jacoby Brissett has playing good. Don't get me wrong. And they're still not winning football games, which shows you that this team just doesn't have it yet.
Yeah.
Like, it needs more time.
We'll see what ends up happening. Kyler Murray, again, a conversation more in the offseason. Is he going to get traded, released, whatever? Jets, Raiders, all these guys have question marks at quarterback. We'll see. Even the Vikings might take a chance on him for all we know. But overall, let's take the negative out of the way. As disappointing as the Cardinals have been, listen, these next three teams have a variation of A.
They all deserve an A, some sort of
49ers, I give an A-. Rams and Seahawks, I both give an A. The 49ers...
I disagree with the Rams. The Rams deserve an A+.
Fine, that's fine.
Here's the reason why.
We'll start off with the Rams then.
I'm going to get that out of the way. The Rams, I think, would be undefeated if they...
Kicker was good.
That's
why I give him an A.
No,
that's the only reason why I give him an A.
Look, this offense has done everything you could ask for. This defense has done
Stafford MVP conversations.
Yeah, exactly. This defense has done everything you could ask for. Yeah, the kicker cost him 2 games. It's just simple as that. And overall, is it a flaw?
It's still a team flaw.
It's still a team flaw, yeah, but it's not big enough to drop it. Like at the end of the day, so I know the Colts more unexpected.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, but the LA Rams have beaten good football teams. The LA Rams have also had a tougher schedule as well than the Colts and the Patriots.
Fair.
They deserve to be in the A+ grade for B just because of that. And on top of that, if we're saying the Colts could be undefeated or not undefeated, or the Colts should only have one loss because of A.D. Mitchell, the Rams literally should be undefeated if it wasn't for Josh Allen.
And I get that. That's the only reason why I give him an A. Because at the end of the day, the kicker is part of the team. That's the only reason why I get it. Matt Stafford at the beginning of the year, people are like, oh, this guy's not even going to play his back injury. And he's literally... If it weren't for the Seahawks game, he probably would have been the MVP frontrunner. Obviously, the Seahawks defense, both defenses caused each other to have bad games for their respective seasons so far. But that's the only reason why I give the Rams an A. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. We'll just differ from the plus and the not the plus.
The Seahawks are an A as well.
Okay,
right?
We'll go with the Seahawks. I was going to go with the Niners.
I thought you were going to go down. The Seahawks are an A. Look, I think it is very lazy to say that, oh, Sam Darnold's back and all that stuff with the LA Rams. But again, that is a concern we have for Sam Darnold, like literally that football game in terms of how he's going to deal with pressure in his face. And let's be honest, no quarterback's going to deal with that pressure he faced, even in last year's wildcard game and the game that he played on the weekend. No quarterback's going to have a successful game. But the bright spot, and obviously a lot of credit does go to the defense, a good bright spot is that he did enough for this team to have a chance in the end. And obviously it was a tough field goal to make. I can't blame Jason Myers. It was 60. It was literally going to match his career long. But overall, he did enough for the Seahawks to have a chance, which is huge. Again, another shot, absolutely incredible. Even against this defense in this game, he still managed a way to put up, I believe, over 100 yards. So there's a positive I could take away for that. But I think it's very lazy to say, or incorrect to say that, oh, Sam Darnold's back.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that route how people are going with Daniel Jones, don't get me wrong. But the concern, listen, I had them at an A+. right?
Yeah, let's
But after that Rams game, I took the plus away.
Okay, here's the thing. I literally, like, in my head, I was like, whoever wins this game will get A+ for me.
Okay. So I still give him a fair grade because Seahawks for me are also, I had them a little bit lower in my expectations. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, the reality is their defense kept them in that game long enough to them they could have almost won that game won that Rams game. And they would have been in the division lead because of that. At the end of the day, with Sam Darnold, I've been, out of the both of us, you know how much of a believer I was still in with Sam Darnold.
100%.
Post-Jets, still. Panthers, era.
This guy was supposed to be done.
Yeah. For me, like, he's been a surprise, but everybody thought he was not going to. I thought I had concerns with the O-line. The O-line has surprised me so far. Gray Zabels has been a big addition. Hopefully, he had, like, I know he got knocked. He was a little bit injured that game. I don't know what the extent of the injury that is. But like you said, the reality is the last 3 games, Sam Darnold's biggest game of his career, it was this game to start off. It was the Week 18 game against the Lions, and it was the Rams once again when he was with Minnesota in the playoffs. 2 of them against the Rams, I don't know if they're just his kryptonite or what the case was. He did not look good. He did not live up to the pressure. And listen, he's led game-winning drives. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, he's not this clutch quarterback, not any of that. This team is, like, we're probably going to do a contenders video in a couple of weeks here, closer to the playoffs. This team, the only thing holding me back from putting them in definitive contender is Sam Darnold when it matters absolutely the most. Because we have physical evidence of when he matters the most, where he could give his team the edge. He kind of faltered a little bit. And this team, he would have given them the edge because they would have had the division lead. And unfortunately, that was not the case. So that's the only thing this team's gonna go as far as Sam Darnold's gonna take them. It's true for almost every quarterback, but I think it's most true for this team because this defense is Super Bowl bound. This defense
100%.
with injuries have been elite.
I'm not going to put the definitive close on that yet, just because the good news for the Seahawks fans and just Seahawks in general and Sam Darnold is
that they almost won this game with that performance.
That number one. But number 2, you have one more chance against the Rams.
Yeah.
So you have another chance to prove it and see what happens.
Because they almost got the job done with the 4 interception game.
Last team, but not least, the San Francisco 49ers are an A-. And this team has literally, I believe, has been, I feel like, dealt with the biggest injuries, right? Obviously, if you're taking out like the quarterback position and all that stuff, because obviously you have Washington being a big one, but literally 2 players you could not afford to lose at all on the defensive side of the ball are literally out for the year, in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. The good news is the defense is still churning up and playing good, and that's a lot of credit to Robert Saleh, so you give him credit there. You also lost your quarterback for a few weeks.
I'm happy. First of all, I'm going to cut you off. At least Brock Purdy has shown that he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah.
People are like, Mac Jones is going to do this.
Look, and Mac Jones played incredible.
He did.
He played absolutely incredible.
But he's not
and honestly, did he make it a case where he deserved a starting job?
100%.
Yeah, 100% he did, because Brock Purdy did not look good the first few weeks. But we just saw an amazing Brock Purdy against a decent Arizona Cardinals defense. We've seen healthy George Kittle return now, which we're seeing the duo.
We have a healthy CMC.
We have had a healthy CMC the whole time, which has been absolutely crazy. Like, honestly, it is literally a year on and a year off for him in terms of his injury status. But yeah, he's been absolutely incredible, carrying the offense like we expect him to do. And like I expect him to do. The reason why I had the fate on the 49ers. Bro, I'm sounding a little bit more sick, but we'll just keep going. Power through here. Last team. George Kittle coming back is huge because he put up an absolute massive performance, taking the pressure off of Christian McCaffrey, who obviously had a big game himself. I think everything we expected to happen offensively, and the main contributors, that just sounds
We're almost there.
Main contributors that we expect to carry this football team have done that, and Christian McCaffrey, and now hopefully you want to add Brock Purdy to that. And then defensively, you just got to hope that they just play really good team defense. They do have a really good quarterback in Lenore, who has really, honestly, could be a potential number 1 quarterback in this league. But overall, everything I said about the 49ers and all the hype I had for them in the beginning of the year is literally the one team I think I predicted correctly, even with the injuries.
Listen, I think they ended up losing to the Rams once, but in the division, they got big wins against the Seahawks. They had a big win against the Rams. Obviously, that helps them in the division case. It also helps that they had the easiest schedule in the NFL. So I'm not taking anything away from them. And being a team injured like that, look at the Ravens. They got injured. They lost to a struggling Houston team and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I'm still figuring out what the hell's happening with Brandon Ayuk. I thought he would have been back by now. And if he is, that's going to obviously help a little bit more. But these three teams that we just mentioned, Niners, Rams, and Seahawks, should be able to get in the playoffs. It's going to be fun to see how this division race closes down. Obviously, our favorite is the Rams, especially them beating the Seahawks over the weekend. But yeah, what the Niners have done is pretty amazing. The fact that Christian McCaffrey being healthy has saved him. He's the leading receiver, which is funny to say. Obviously, Ricky Pearsall is now back overall. We'll see what ends up happening. I originally had them at a B, but I had to move them to an A-. Sorry, B+. I moved them back to an A- because, a couple losses here and there, I get it. It happens. But overall, next to, it's still not very impressive to see what they did to close out this year. But this pretty much wraps it up for us. This is all our letter grades for every NFL team so far. We talked about every NFL team today. This might not happen now because we're probably not going to talk about the Titans and all that. So this is your chance to hear what our thoughts and our grades are for the NFL team up to the almost midpoint, just past the midpoint. See a part of the season. Hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 100 subscribers. Comment down below your grades for all these NFL teams. We would like to appreciate you once again, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.